I'm fully condemning the actions that have taken place on Sunday in the elderly residents being arrested, thrown to the ground, unlawfully detained, their cars being towed. Those actions need to be fully investigated by the state police or any other independent party to find out the root cause and any actions that need to be implemented to further stop that from happening again. And today, I am calling on Flint Police Chief Terrence Green to suspend or put on administrative leave Officer Michael Tisdale. He was involved in the, I'm going to say, the unlawful and excessive force extraction of the elderly person on Sunday. And I'm also going to call for the suspension or administrative leave of Aaron Stillwell from the actions that took place here on Monday night here in these city council chambers. From every hour of video that I have reviewed, from every angle that is available and has been submitted to me, Chief Terrence Green said that punches were thrown and those will be prosecuted. From every hour of video that I have reviewed, the only person was Officer Aaron Stillwell that threw punches. And he was indiscriminately throwing punches at multiple residents. And for that, and he has only graduated from the academy less than 18 months. And his actions are on Monday are, to me, he is unqualified to be a Flint police officer. He should not be on the streets putting residents in danger. He was also involved in a legal stop, in my opinion, and unlawful detainment of another elderly resident on Sunday. Not thrown to the ground, but extracted from their car, arrested, I'm going to say unlawfully detained, put in handcuffs in the back of the squad car. There was also a federal lawsuit filed yesterday for the actions that happened on Sunday regarding those incidents. So I'm calling on Chief Terrence Green to put those two officers at a minimum on his administrative leave until a proper investigation by the state police or any other one, but it cannot be internal. We have corruption from the top to the bottom within the police department, and it has to be held by an outside party. So with that, those are my statements with the police department. I will turn it over to Councilwoman Tanya Burns to get her statements, and then we'll take questions.
Thank you. I'm not this tall. Thank you first for being here, but I do want to make it very clear so that our voices are on record. What happened Sunday was egregious. The police were weaponized against the residents yet again. This should not be happening. Almost every single council meeting, the police are brutally removing people. A lady's shoulder has been dislocated, and this shouldn't be happening. We have issues in our city, and I think that our police needs to be better trained to understand. People on Sunday, I wanted to be clear, a senior was removed from his car while the car was in drive. He was thrown to the ground. The vehicle hit other vehicles, 2 other vehicles. That shouldn't have happened. We had a 70-plus senior who was handcuffed and placed in a vehicle and then told by a police officer, "You need to thank me. Tell me thank you for putting your keys in your car." This is not what our police are supposed to do. They have a responsibility to serve the public and to keep the peace. Sunday, they caused the havoc. The only people that were impeding traffic were the police. They were blocking traffic. They were stopping people. When the individual, Mr. Roth, asked, "I need to get my things out of my vehicle. I need my briefcase and my other things," the officer is on video saying, "Those are my things now. Those are mine." No, that's not what we should be doing when you're keeping the peace. You shouldn't be bringing hostility. Residents in the city of Flint face serious issues. Federal water crisis. People were poisoned. We had emergency management. We've had a global pandemic. We had $94.7 million that the residents have not seen, to the fact that they felt that it would be able to provide relief to this community. That has not happened. They were targeted on Sunday as they were pulled over. They didn't get every vehicle. Some were actually pulled over in the parking lane. That shouldn't be happening. Police brutality should not be happening. We understand that the mayor has an issue with the activist Jedediah Brown, but Flint has always had people come here to help. For example, Cher. We had Beyonce send money. We had Snoop. We had many other celebrities who have come and activists to help. And as a matter of fact, the activists that they were really targeting had been here during our water crisis, delivering water. So this was not his first time. Flint has had many crises and many issues. The sad part is that this continues to happen. It was a sad day for Flint. Flint received not one black eye, but 2 black eyes. And the video footage shows it. They were targeted. They were extracted from their vehicles. They were thrown to the ground, and the vehicles were towed for a traffic infraction. A traffic infraction. Clearly in those comments, you hear the officer stating, "I'm towing your car." This shouldn't be happening. I don't want people to feel that Flint, when you come to Flint, that this is normal. That's not normal behavior. And this is why we're speaking out and speaking out on the record. It's time that our Flint police are stopped being used and weaponized against the residents and even visitors. Every single council meeting, the police are weaponized against the residents. And it's sad. We've had over 70 plus people removed from city council chambers by the council president and the council vice president for simple things such as clapping, a warning. One lady didn't even talk, she was just moving her hand. People were removed for their First Amendment right to protest by holding a sign, telling them they had to be stationary. Put that sign down, you can't have a sign. Violations that are consistently happening in the city of Flint, which shouldn't. So I'm gonna leave this so, because we are gonna stay time sensitive. If you have questions on the police, or you wanna do the
We'll do
police.
You detailed concerns about specific officers.
Yep.
But you suggested that this is a bigger problem within the department. What are your concerns about supervisors all the way up to chief?
Well, I have concerns that the chief is ruling by, he is giving orders that are unlawful. It's clear that some of the officers are following orders and not following their oath or specific laws. Moreover, during one of the police stops on Sunday, if not both of them, the people in the cars were told, "Get out, I'm towing your car." Not a standard, and they clearly said, "I'm ordered by my police chief to tow your car." Not, "I'm pulling you over, I need your license, registration, proof of insurance, I'm pulling you over for this," and so on and so forth. So, and it's clear in the actions that residents are being removed for expressing their First Amendment rights here in this room, that they are removed unlawfully. And unfortunately, it's going to come down to a lawsuit being filed, because, and they know that they're extracting and they're removing poor people that aren't going to file lawsuits. So in their eyes, they're probably thinking that they're being, they're untouchable. But that's what happened. So it is a top down in between, because there are officers filing or following unlawful, in my opinion, orders. Yeah.
So I guess, when it comes to council meetings and like what happened on Monday, I guess, what would you like to see, or how do you think it would be more effective for order or peace meetings in council chambers?
So order and peace, I think that what has happened in this chambers over the past 2 years under current council leadership has boiled over to this point. Residents have been thrown out, have been arrested, have been told to shut up, and they have really discouraged people from coming and speaking and airing their grievances as they should to elected body. So order and peace will come back with new leadership that puts the chambers back in the people's hands and allows them to speak, and allowing them to speak and us hearing them will give them better governance.
And then also in addition, Councilman Pfeiffer, you mentioned an officer was throwing punches.
Yes. Yes.
We received a tip accusing his brother of assaulting one of the officers.
So,
is there any truth to that?
So I won't speak to that because from what I understand, no charges have been filed in the, I'll leave it at that. But the officer, Michael Tisdale, Michael, normal spelling, Tisdale, Tisdale, was indiscriminately throwing punches. So much so that he punched a resident square in the face. He was not trying to apprehend anybody trying to provide order. He was literally in a scrum trying to throw punches, and the incident was caused by him charging and hitting another resident. That's what caused everything. 20-some plus officers were called to this chamber to remove one woman for disorderly conduct. One woman, 20 officers showed up. One with a long gun. Who brings a long gun into a council chambers to remove one woman? I'll leave it at that, but I'll leave that question at that. But
I do want to speak to this because this room, there was chaos. And I want to speak to with what the residents is. You will constantly hear the public safety plan. We have never had a resolution to vote on the public safety plan. There's a document that was presented and worked on with interim council president Liddell Lewis with Chief Green. It is not enforceable. She is consistently telling the police to enforce something that is not the law, and they are enforcing something that is not lawful. They're not asking, they're not saying, show me where this is written, because they constantly tell people to be removed. And it started with someone over there videotaping near the city attorney. And Judy Priestley, councilman of the 4th Ward, stated, you can't be over there videotaping. There is no rule, there is no law that you can't videotape. They keep stating that you can't talk to the city clerk or the city attorney. That's just not true. We have never had a resolution that you can't talk to public officials that are paid for by public dollars with their salaries. And so when we continuously, when they continuously violate not only the Open Meetings Act, the First Amendment, and they violate the city charter themselves, because they don't have decorum with how they talk to residents. It's disrespectful. It states in the city charter, section 3-104, that we must be respectful to constituents and we must be respectful to each other. Those 4 council members they're not respectful. We have been called names that they would make your grandmother blush. It's been ridiculous.
Hey, just a matter of correction real quick. It was Stillwell that was going to punches here at City Council. I think you guys said Tisdale.
okay, yeah, no, Stillwell was the incident here on Monday.
Right.
Tisdale was in the street on Sunday.
Just a quick clarification. Have you filed a formal request through channels to have the MSP do an investigation, or are you just asking?
There has been a formal complaint made to the Michigan State Police on Officer Stillwell. I think, to my knowledge, the federal lawsuit involved Officer Tisdale. So I think those 2 channels are what has been done so far. Any other questions on the Flint Police before we move on to the budget?
Sorry, I missed the first few minutes. Would you both just identify yourself quickly?
Councilman Dennis Pfeiffer, this is Councilwoman Tanya Burns. Okay.
Can I just state, I was there Sunday for the protest. I was actually involved in the march, and I was at the very back of the line. We no less got more than 5 blocks, and police were literally paratrooping in from adjoining side streets. I drove through the downtown area prior to the event taking place, about 45 minutes before the event took place. There were no police at all in any of the downtown streets area. So I highly have to assume the way that they followed us from this building down the street, they started out with 2 cops that were sitting on the street, and then as more and more started paratrooping in and following in their line, no sooner did we get 5 blocks down right in front of Water Street, and exactly what they're stating is true. They were pulled over to the side of the street, which was not in the driving lane. The cars were still driving down Saginaw Street. There was no impaired driving. Everybody was driving fine. Cars were still getting down the road. The police came in, they barricaded all of those people that were in that line, and they kept them from proceeding down the road.
Thank you. We're going to continue on real quick. Yeah, we're going to continue on. So in regards to the budget, I think the mayor is playing a very dangerous game. And what he is doing is he is blatantly lying to the residents, saying that this is a balanced budget. This is not a balanced budget. We are spending $4+ million than we receive. And it is, I'll just say this, in fiscal year 22, we had a $17 million surplus. This year proposed, we have a 29. So you're thinking, okay, we went up in our budget. Well, that's not the case, because we transferred $40 million of ARPA funds. So if we didn't transfer $40 million of ARPA funds to the general fund, we would already be bankrupt. And every year we have a $4 to $5 million deficit. And this year is the only year that there isn't a 5-member rubber stamp to approve this reckless spending. And it's a straight lie that it is a balanced budget. And we are not unwilling to approve a budget. We are just trying to get our fiscal house in order. We have proposed amendments to the general budget. They have all been voted down by the council members who rubber stamp everything. And one of the things that is clear is the overspending in the mayor's department. The mayor's department in fiscal year 19 to 20 had a budget of $344,000. This year, the mayor wants $1.6 million in that department. And that is just the mayor's office. Don't let it skew it, though. He includes blight and everything. That is just the mayor's office. So just a few years ago, he has fourfolded his budget, and he will not tell us. We've asked for what the additional headcounts are going to be for. We have never got that information, and they refuse to. So in the matter of a few years, he has quadrupled his budget with zero accountability. Well, we are, one of the things that was not mentioned in the press conference yesterday is our control of the purse strings of the city of Flint and our checks and balances of the administration. And like I said, this is the first year that they haven't had it. So we are going to bring accountability, and they are using the residents and the employees as pawns, trying to say, if you don't pass it the way it is, or with the amendments that we say, we're going to send out layoff notices. They are playing that game instead of actually looking at the amendments and saying, okay, let's all agree on a budget that is capable and fiscally responsible. And then the mayor or whoever can come before us with budget amendments on each individual item and say, I want to spend money on this. Let's approve an additional budget amendment. That is what we are proposing, but we have to get down to reduce the $4 million deficit that we are continually spending. And I think we would be already in bankruptcy if we didn't send the ARPA dollars to the general fund. And those ARPA dollars were not meant for the general fund. They were meant to help boost up our impoverished community. That is the definition of those ARPA funds. And instead, they are spending them on pet projects and anything else that has zero, and I mean zero, benefit to the residents of the city of Flint. And I'll turn it over to Ms. Tanya Burns.
Thank you. So, thank you, Councilman Fife. So I want to be very clear. This is a deficit budget. We're required to maintain and keep a balanced budget by the Flint City Charter, Article 7, underneath the finance. The mayor's administration is supposed to bring city council a balanced budget. That didn't happen. It did not happen. When you bring a deficit budget and say, hey, it's going to pass later down the road, it'll balance later, it does not state the city charter, page 61. It does not speak to maybe October, November, hopefully no December. It has to be the date that we vote to adopt the budget. It's not balanced. Flint has had 4 emergency managers: Darnell Early, Ed Kurtz, Mike Brown, Jerry Ambrose. We do not want another emergency manager. That is very clear. What happened to our last emergency manager? What happened to the city of Flint? Governor Snyder stated that the city of Flint, city council, and the mayor lacked the will to govern, and they took over our city. They sold off all of our assets, our garbage trucks, reduced pay, reduced benefits for our employees. And they eventually decided to not treat the water, which led to the poisoning of the city of Flint, where there was TTHM, PFAS in the water. The water wasn't treated. So when residents get outraged, it's because the residents get no justice in the city of Flint, and that is the outrage. So we have been asking the questions with the budget, certain things, the 2 golf courses, Kersley Lake, Swartz Creek. We wanted to see the financials. This mayor has continuously used the $75,000 threshold. We are paying $72,000 to a vendor for city properties that we had vendors who were going to pay. Instead, we're paying them. We're supposed to split the profits. We haven't seen any of the profits. They have a bar, they have a restaurant, they have cannabis events. We haven't seen any of the funds from this. In addition to that, we have asked, the mayor took off and he evicted the current, who was in good standing, the Hasselbring Center, from what is now known as the Mays Center. We're now funding 2 positions. We don't know from, they did state ARPA funds, which is not for salaries. They are funding those. We're paying and we don't know how much are the expenses for running that. The state said that the county stated in this letter that they will not fund, that the city submitted an application. It was the worst application they've ever seen. And that they will not be given the money. So somewhere in our budget, we don't know, they're paying for a senior center, the consumers, the water, the snow removal, the parking lot lights, and 2 salaries, the food, the programming. City council did not vote on this. We did not vote. We have not had to take care of our senior centers since 2002 when emergency management came in. That's 23 years ago. Now, under this budget, and we don't know where it's at because they won't show us, we're having to do McKinley Center and then in addition, the Mays Center. So there's many discrepancies in this budget that we've got questions about. The opioid plan. Where is the opioid plan? We have an opioid problem in our city. Where is the plan? We have a fund with it and they're spending that money and we want to know where all those dollars are going. You can spend up to 30%, but it's not lining up. And when we ask our chief financial officer, he consistently tells us, I don't know. And I believe he honestly doesn't know or he's been told he can't answer. So these are serious issues of concern. Our pension fund for our retirees, we were told they were going to get 220 million. They didn't. They got 170. They just got another 10 million. We're 40 million short from what the mayor stated we would be getting. Where is that money? So now we're at a 4-4 where the budget cannot just be rubber stamped and we're asking the tough questions. We don't want to lay off anyone, but we also don't want emergency management. And we've had 4 emergency managers. So these are things which are concerning deeply to us. And I don't think this administration is getting it. we're going to go over tonight, and my question is to the administration. Where do you think the cuts would be less? They did give us a document stating they wanted to take 500,000 from police, 400,000 from fire, and 33,000 from city council. But those cuts are gonna have to be much deeper. So hopefully tonight, we'll be able to get into where they won't hurt as much, but we're required by the city charter in the state of Michigan to pass a balanced budget if it is passed today, not November, October, or any other month. So that is the requirement. Anything less than that, we would be breaking the law.
I just want to say two more points in regards to the budget. So this council body has asked this administration for 6+ months for the check register. We just got that 2 weeks ago, and some of the things on there are appalling. They have yet to provide details, specific details on checks being made, but from my investigating and my knowledge, some of those are for his New Year's Eve private party that he throws on the Hilton rooftop on New Year's Eve. He's paying for consultants, production companies, photographers, professional service contracts that nobody can explain. So those are part of the questions that why we are more in-depthly scrutinizing this budget. Also, in regards to the golf courses that Ms. Burns brought up, it is a fact. We are paying $6,000 a month to an operator, and that's how he's bypassing council. Council approved a motion or a resolution to put the 2 golf courses out to bid. That went out to bid. The winner of that bid was going to pay the city of Flint over the life of the contract over $1 million. But that vendor was not the one that the mayor approved. So the one that the mayor approved, you will find also writes checks to his education, or not his election account. So you do the math on that. I won't connect the dots for you on that. Is there any questions regarding the budget?
Yeah. He yesterday, President said that he's extending an olive branch for you all to come to his office. Would you take that, or do you want him to come up here?
I can speak for me personally. I am not going to negotiate the livelihoods of our citizens and or the employees in closed doors to make some backdoor deal. All discussions will be made from my seat at in these chambers.
So I do want to say this. The mayor has reached out. I have received 3 emails. When he came to council to present the budget, he was so very disrespectful to give us 1 minute. 1 minute to ask questions. You can't ask questions in 1 minute for millions of dollars with a deficit budget that he's trying to pass. I will not meet with him. If he wants to talk, he needs to come in city council chambers where he decides to give us 1 minute. This is the public's place, it's the public's money. This needs to be done in the open, and it needs to be done transparent.
So none of them have been adopted.
But a ballpark, if they had been adopted.
If they had been adopted, we would have saved 1.25 in the mayor's office. I believe $250,000 out of the administrator's office, and no other amendments have been proposed because council members broke quorum. So, but
that still would have left you.
That's still
$3 million
correct.
short.
Correct. And the administration has offered since that date about 1.2 in additional, and Ms. Burns named off a few of the police department, city council, some of those. So if we adopt those and the proposed to the mayor and administrator's office, yes, we still have other departments that need to be, their belts need to be tightened.
So one of the areas that they stated, which is the capital expenditures. So I guess we'll go through every department. But again, this is the mayor's responsibility to give us a balanced budget. This was his budget. He presented a deficit budget to city council. That was irresponsible. In addition, he is supposed to, according to the Flint City Charter, quarterly present any budget issues he's having. He's supposed to come before council and say, hey, I've got issues, or his administrator, this is where we need to offset things. That has not happened. You know, we don't, and I'm gonna say this, I don't think things will change over the whole until August, the election. I don't see that. Passing the budget, I hope they come tonight with, you know, what do they want to see cut? Because we did not make it, the quorum was broken. Yesterday was not a meeting. It wasn't properly posted. The city clerk wasn't here, her staff wasn't here. They broke quorum the day before. So I think it's time for them to stop the shenanigans, sharpen the pencils, and we have to go to work for the residents.
And I just want to clear up, what we are saying is in black and white and paper. We have documents to state everything. We are not speaking in a political nature saying, oh, it's a balanced budget, trying to use different verbiage. These are all, everything that me and Councilwoman have said can be and will be backed up in documents.
I do want to say this, Dennis, before we leave, because this is one of the issues, and we have talked about it. When you talked about the ARPA funds, what it was to, because we are an impoverished community with many issues, that we have got 3 council members who have nonprofits, that they have presented resolutions, that they have voted on, that they are affiliated with or incorporated, that have received our ARPA funds. And so residents who are here asking for a roof, residents who are asking for in-home plumbing, residents who are asking to be fed, they won't vote to feed our help centers. We have got St. Mark's, to where they feed 800 to 1,200 people a month. We have the 2 East Side centers that they won't vote to approve that. But we've got council members who have received 25,000, 50,000. Another one was voted on in committee with 300,000 that just happened to make its way to State Rep Cynthia Neely's earmarked budget to be approved. So we have to follow the money, and we are doing that so that we don't go back into receivership underneath emergency management, and we don't have a 5th emergency manager.
Any other questions regarding the budget?
I wonder, the Bears in history, he's optimistic that we will have a budget at some point this month. Are you two, given the deadlock that's happened so far, given the recent history of how this has gone, do you think we'll have a budget this month?
I honestly, I think we do. The question was, do we think we'll have a budget? I do think we'll have a budget, but the council members on the mayor's rubber stamp have to come to realize that they are not going to get the budget approved the way it stands. It's not going to happen. We have to get our financial and fiscal house in order, and in order to do that, tough decisions need to be made, and they need to stop playing Russian roulette with the employees and the residents. Any other questions regarding the budget? Okay, then we will.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you for coming on short notice, and we'll wrap this up. Thank you.